tanks today. We're going to start on the left tank. I got the True Track optical tachometer on the dash, and that's really nice for fine leaning the engine, because I also have the Insight G2 engine monitor. And so what sounds like it's leaned out, you can really get a good job, do a good job with the True Track, a digital tachometer. Alright, so I got everything leaned back. Didn't have a sip of coffee here.
Forward landing south.
It's high overcast, about around 15,000 feet, because I can see the top of Mt Rainier, and that's at 14.4. Alright, I like electronic checklist on the Garmin Pilot. I just find you make way fewer mistakes if you use an electronic checklist. Like those. Whoops, we'll go with 2. Trim is set. Elects the forward trim when you're empty. Fuel selector fuller tank. That'll be to the left. Oil temperature is nice. It's off the bottom. Mixture's coming rich. Here comes the power to 2,000 RPM. Always check carb heat first. Nice smooth drop. And I got carb air temperature on my G2. Comes a mag check. I'm also watching for EGT rise, as well as a max 200 RPM drop. There's the R, right side. They're all coming up even. That tells me the spark plugs are individually working. Alright, oil pressure solid. I'm charging at 14 volts. Alright, bring it back. Lift that tail wheel up. There's about 45 knots. Knots, here come the flaps. I'm getting about 2,600 RPM in the initial climb here. That's pretty much a VY climb. Reset my clock here. The GPS has a flight timer, Garmin Pilot does flight timer, my watch does a flight timer. Everything's in triple redundancy. I got 3 attitude indicators on the GDL 52 and then the 2 AV30s. We're just going to climb up towards the Cascade Mountains here. It's still pretty much just at a VY climb. Turn some of that heat off. I go to page 2 of 3. I can press it once, twice, 3 times, set my altitude alerter. We'll put 85 in here. Now the only thing this does not do is give me type of oral or visual alert. So now I got selected altitude 8,500. Be nice if it gave me a flash or a chime, or because I do have it piped into the audio panel. Would be nice for the AV30 to tell me I'm 1,000 feet prior, maybe 500 feet prior, whatever I user select it to. And then if I vacate that altitude without putting a new one in, that'd be kind of nice.
Evergreen Center Edge, motor glider Delta Golf departing, taxiing to the south end of the runway, on the runway.
Alright. When I roll out east here, pick up those tailwinds, there we go. Want to lean it out again.
Enum Flow traffic, Cessna 83 Golf was taking the active, departing to the west, Enum Flow.
So at 2582 RPM, I'm going to pitch the nose over and see if I can get more RPMs out of the engine. So I'm going to pitch for 80 knots and see what it yields. It's already starting to come up. So fixed pitch RPM directly relates to horsepower. So if I can let the engine wind up a little faster, I'm getting more horsepower out of it. So it's actually getting more work done for the same fuel flow. Fuel flow might go up a smidge, I suppose, at high RPM. There's 84, correction 75 knots. We're going to go to 80 knots. That's about 95 miles per hour for you folks. Make sure I'm centered on my ball there. 97 knots, so we're getting a little tailwind out of it. And I'm at 2680, so I went up a full 100 RPM by pitching over on this fixed pitch prop. It's a Macaulay 76 inch diameter, 53 pitch. Alright, so there's right at 80 knots. And I'm at 2680 RPM, so it went up well over 100 RPM. That has to translate to horsepower for sure. And my rate of climb is about the same as it was before, so BY isn't necessarily the best rate of climb, especially on a fixed pitch, because you can't increase the horsepower output just by increasing. And all you're doing is reducing the aero loads on the prop to allow it to spin faster. All right. I'll just leave the power up until I get down to well over red line.
Still sound by the A5.
2830.
With the airport traffic, 814 for Victor, left base 34 would be.
Doing 120 across the ground now, so I just got a little nose down trim.
Would be traffic, Coast Guard, left downwind 34 will be on deck for about 10 minutes.
Kirkland, mid-lake.
PGTs didn't really budge. Smooth enough day. If I had a big engine, I could actually descend in the structural cruising range. Yellow arc. Very smooth.
Left downwind.
I'll probably fast forward through some of this stuff here on the way down. 23 miles out. I'll give him a call 10 miles out.
Would be Air Park traffic, 814 for Victor, turning final 34 would be.
Got power back just a little bit. across the ground. So up ahead, just need to be below 5,000 feet for the Class Bravo. In my opinion, this is ground speed 130 knots. This is where this airplane belongs. It'd be 182 range. 0470 could do the job. 0540. Franklin 220 could do the job. I bought this airplane to train my son. I'm not doing as much training in that anymore, so I don't mind upgrading the engine. I really do want to keep this panel. It's a very functional IFR panel. I got PETA heat.
Between the bridges, Washington.
Got a lot of great utility in this panel for many years to come. I'm just adding a little bit of left rudder because of the big tail and high descent. It's not P factor anymore. It's turning tendencies. Just the way the rudder's offset. So I want to add a little bit of left rudder to keep everything coordinated and keep your speed up too.
Whidbey Airport, Coast Guard.
So with a bigger engine, that could cruise another 20 knots higher than normal, indicated. And that would, routinely put me in the 130 knot true airspeed range. I'm having one problem with this Garmin camera in that it doesn't want to do the GPS overlay anymore, and I've done a number of resets, but I think I have to replace the camera. I don't know why the GPS overlays aren't working anymore, but it's frustrating at times because everything else on the camera works fine. Software's up to date. Alright, 131 knots. I know I got a little bit of a tailwind push here. And again, I'm 17.1 mile, 131 knot across the ground. New Avionics is working on an autopilot that would actually just mount here on the yoke. I could put it on the other this side. Excuse me. And it just rolls this little weight across the top, and that just tracks a course or keeps your wings level or flies a heading. And it's incorporated with the AV-30s, and I can't wait to try that because you just clip it on the mount, somehow powered either through a battery or USB power. I'll have a functioning autopilot. I can't believe it's coming, but they're working on it. Alright, once again, I got to be below 5,000 feet here. I'll make it no problem. 15 out, I'll give them a call here in 5 miles. The FAA put in a recent AC on uncontrolled airports. If you haven't read it, give it a good look at a number of mid-airs in the pattern. So they're trying to mitigate some of this stuff by making more awareness. And I did a recent flight review, and one of the students was under the misconception that he could just do a long straight in, and that he had right away. And I had to show him in the new AC that that's not necessarily the case. So it's a good read. A lot of some misconceptions cleared up. And of course, ACs are how the FAA interprets the regulations, how they put the regulations into use. So take a listen on it, or take a look at it. All right, 13 out. Doing really good. It's been flying here almost an hour, maybe an hour and 5 so far. I can go back twice on this. I've been flying an hour and 6 minutes now. That's pretty slick. New engine in this airplane. This will be my retirement airplane there, I have a feeling, because everything else on it's just about right. Yeah, you'd always like bigger seats and more capability, but if I just to get it up to 130 knots true, it's a good cross-country machine at that point. 100 knots is just a long trip to Oshkosh, that's for sure. Got a couple of landmarks here. I got this hump mountain right over here. That's for Enumclaw. When I'm on the ground, if I have good visual on that, I have 1,003 for VFR. There's 10 miles. And Enumclaw traffic extends to 6966 Mike. We're 10 miles to the south inbound landing, Enumclaw. That was a nice flight around Rainier today. Got to check out a couple of places, see a lot of the fall colors.
Still traffic 74735.
We have mostly evergreens out here. But we do have some, I think they call them deciduous trees. Trees that lose their leaves. I'll be zipping over Buckley. There's a nice air park down here in Buckley, a lot of high-end homes. I knew one guy that was building out there. He was building near COVID, just outrageous pricing on what he was paying per square foot. But he wanted to build. Couldn't wait a couple of years. Now prices are back reasonable again, because people need work. Amazing how prices are adjusted if people need work. Okay, but here's my lookout peak I was talking about before. If I can see that from my field, it's 1,003. That's my VFR barometer. And pattern altitude 1,700, and I'm passing through 2,200 now. You notice the airspeed goes into the yellow at 110. It just went yellow and then backed off to white. Kinda cool. Okay, gas undercarriage mixture, everything's done. Like to be around 50 knots here on final. That's about 46 miles per hour. Try to keep that fence right at the same mark on the windshield and just regulate my rate of descent with power. Hold that mark with pitch. Winds are calm. You can see the windsuck's pretty dead. Wheels are on the floor. I don't put my toes up on the brakes at all for landing. Now lean forward a little bit in the flare. Add power to idle.
Check angle, check angle, check angle.
There we go.
Check angle, check angle.
Little forward elevator, kind of lift that tail